I don't think there's enough runway. I'm not terribly sure we have much alternative. The pilot shook his head and muttered something inaudible but almost certainly profane under the roar of the 4 engines. I was assured this was a proper airfield, Bernard. The group captain, the man called Bernard, bristled. The American not only insisted on addressing him by his first name, rather than sir, but also insisted on pronouncing Bernard with a heavy emphasis on the second syllable, Bernard. He'd been doing that since they'd left England 2 weeks previously, and he regretted not taking the opportunity to correct him earlier. Now didn't seem to be quite the right time. It's a proper airfield. It's not a proper airfield for a liberator, Bernard. What did you say you flew in the Battle of Britain? Hurricanes, actually, 238 Squadron. Well, Bernard, this beauty is over twice as long as a hurricane with nearly 3 times the wingspan. It's 70 foot long, for Christ's sake. We'll have to find another airfield. If we try to land here, we might not make it. That's impossible, Michael. You saw the flight plan yourself and said, "It's Mike, not Michael." I keep telling you that, and sure, I saw the flight plan, less than half an hour before we left Cairo. It simply said the airfield met the requirements of a liberator. You guys insisted this is a top-secret flight, but forgot to let the pilot in on the secret. You were told. I was told we were flying to Turkey, Bernard. You didn't even tell me we were flying to this place. What's it called again? Adana. You didn't tell me we were flying into Adana until we were off the Syrian coast. You either trust your pilot or you don't. What's the nearest major airfield to here? Ankara, I guess. How far is that? Bernard consulted a chart as the American made his 3rd pass over the airfield. As much as it annoyed him having to admit it, Mike if he must, was a brilliant pilot. No wonder the top brass at the RAF had insisted he be kept on to fly the plane once he'd brought it over from the States. The passengers were too important to risk a less experienced pilot. Nearly 250 miles. We don't have enough fuel. I'm going to head back over the coast and turn around so we can come in nice and low and nice and slow, as we say in West Virginia. You may want to warn your Prime Minister to get ready for an interesting landing. Winston wants you to sort it out, Rowley. The ball's in your court. They were sitting on uncomfortable wooden stools, spread out under the giant wings of Commando, codename of Churchill's personal aircraft, the one the young American pilot called Mike had somehow managed to land at the Adana airfield the previous day. The specially adapted long-range Liberator had flown the Prime Minister to Morocco a fortnight earlier for the meeting with Roosevelt at Casablanca, and then on to Cairo before setting off on a secret mission to Turkey. Sir Rowland Pearson hadn't wanted to be there. He liked his home comforts and felt uneasy whenever he left central London, let alone England. He had an aversion to abroad, as he called it, and particularly hot places where the food was not, in his opinion, normal. But once Churchill had persuaded the somewhat reluctant Turks to meet with him, he'd ordered his intelligence advisor to join him in Cairo. "You've put on weight, Rowley," had been the Prime Minister's first words to him when they met up at the British Embassy. "Could have done with you in Casablanca. Never mind. We'll get our money's worth out of you in Turkey, eh?" And now Sir Rowland Pearson was sitting in the hangar at Adana Airfield, and even though the temperature was a long way from the heights of the Turkish summer, it was nonetheless unbearably hot. His companions were half a dozen of Churchill's top generals and military advisers, who'd spent the day with Churchill and the British entourage at the nearby railway station in Yenice, where, in a luxurious train carriage, they'd met with President Inonu and his advisers. Their objective had been simple enough: to persuade the Turks to abandon its neutrality and join the Allies in the fight against the Axis powers. The meeting had not gone at all well. "God knows we've tried," said General Mathers, wiping his head with a large handkerchief, which he then used to noisily blow his nose. "We've pretty much offered to re-equip the whole damn army with all the German weapons and vehicles we captured in North Africa. Winston promised them 200 tanks right away.